Alright, hey, I'm going live again here for my second random piano tip. This one's for Sonia Clark, who asked about inner voice movement and in particular moving through changes. So what comes to me right off the bat is ballad playing. That's when I use the majority of inner voice movement through changes. And I think, you know, most of the the principles that I employ could be applied at faster tempos as well, of course, or perhaps in different styles. But I'll show you like a pop exercise that I do as well. First, let's take a look at like a nice jazz ballad like Moonlight in Vermont. That's one of my favorite tunes to play. I've been playing it a lot in the last year because my sister had a baby in Vermont, and so I was always thinking of her and playing this song. So it goes like this. So right there, like almost always putting some kind of inner voice movement on the 5 chord. What I like to do is play like sus4s. So I'll play like a 1-4-7 shell in my left hand. This is one of my favorite things to do right here is 1-4-7, resolve the 4 down to the 3. That gives you the movement right there. And I might play like a melodic figure on top, or whatever you feel like you have the freedom in your melody. And then you can use this voice to also match up with this one, like so basically it's just that movement from the 5 chord sus4 to the dominant 7 with maybe some kind of alteration like a flat 9, sharp 9, any alteration. I like this one, flat 9, the sharp 11, the 13. Sonia, I'm not sure where you're at with jazz harmony, if this is all familiar to you, or if you're like, flat 9, sharp 11, 13. But you can see it as like E minor triad over B flat 7, or E major triad, or G major triad, or G flat major triad. Any of those extension possibilities just add color, but the inner voice movement you get happens from starting in the sus4 with a natural 9 or 5, natural 13. See, there's basically C minor triad, B minor triad in this instance. So that's one of the primary ways that I like to get movement is on the 5 chord. Another way you can get it is when you have a melody that has some kind of tension release built into it. For instance, this one, 6-5, right? So what can you do that matches with that 6 and resolves to the 5, like an F triad and then an E flat triad maybe, and that gives you some extra voice movement. So or you could do E flat diminished, which is real nice, right? And any extra little layers you put in there are nice, right? You get an extra little layer in there. But the harmony is the foundation of it, and really the melody is the anchor, right? You can think of the melody as the anchor or the harmony, I don't know, either way. And then adding extra little tidbits you're able to throw in there are nice. All right, so You might do it with your left hand. See that? So then this brings me to another one, which is like this kind of thing. Which this is a drop 2 version of basically just using the 5 chord, or you could think of it as the diminished leading tone. So where we're at in the harmony is C minor. This is C minor 7, and I'm going to insert a B diminished, or G7 flat 9, however you want to think of that. See that? Little tension release. Ultimately, it's all about tension release, right? That's just giving you a little extra movement within the flow of the harmony, right? Now, when you have a longer break, you know, you can do arpeggiations of things, and that's fun. But you can also add inner voice movement in here more as like a melodic statement, you know, kind of a transitional melody. Like for instance on this, I might go. So I'm playing within the scale that correlates to this chord, which is D flat, Lydian dominant, and I might go something like that. That would be nice. Or whatever I choose to do, I'm going to lead it to the next harmonical, which is F. Right? However much time you have, however much chops you have, it could be real simple. Just lead it down. Let's see. Here's the sus4 again. Resolve to the 3. So now I'm playing a little melody. This is just a B flat 7, right? But I'm going to play sus. I'm going to use my top fingers as melody. And I'm resolving it here to a B flat 7 using my upper structure triads. E, F sharp for melody. Whatever you want your melody to be. There's one of those, like, you know, interjection kind of melodies, which can happen. The other thing in jazz that happens a lot is like kind of cliched inner voice movement, which is like transitional harmonies or just little cliches. So check this out, like that on a major 7, actually you probably wouldn't do it on this melody because the 6/5 is so strong. You wouldn't want the 5 sharp 5 to the 6, but this is a very common one. 5 sharp 5 6, or 7 sharp 5 6. You could do it like that. That happens a lot. So on this tune, this is not going to work so well right here, right? But you could fit it in there. Now here's so that's 7 sharp 5 sometimes it's the 7-5-6 or the 7-5-flat-6, depending on where you're at in the mode. For instance, if I'm walking up the E flat major mode, and then I'm going to G, this is really the natural place to go. So because of the key, and then E, A flat. So this is an exercise you can do, Sonia, if you want. You can do this in any key. It's a good exercise. Take your 1-7 shell in your left hand, take an octave on the third, and the 7 in the middle, in the right hand. And then basically you're doing like 7-6, but you're doing a chromatic approach from below. 7, 5, 6, and then F minor is your 2 chord, sharp 5, 6, G minor 7 is your 3 chord, 7, but here your 6 is a flat 6 in this key, right, for G minor, because it's E flat major. We're just like staying in the mode for this exercise. So you're going to go to the natural 5 to the flat 6. See, this chromatic, this is your 7-6, this chromatic approach. And then A flat major, 7-6, 7-6, 7, chromatic to the 6, 7, chromatic to the 6, it's a flat 6 for C, 7, D is a flat 6, and then back to E flat. That's a fun exercise to do. You know, you can transpose that around different keys. And you can apply that within the course of a song in any number of creative ways. One more thing I'm going to show you on this tune, which is like the harmonic walk-up. So let's say... So that's like... you take your... let's see... I resolve to the F minor, and I'm going to 5, right? So I can just walk up through the mode, 2, 3, 4, and even you could put in a diminished sharp 4, and then get to your 5. So now you got lots of walking, lots of movement in here. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, diminished to the 5, and still with the sus and the resolution. Lots of layers now. So, I hope that was cool. Maybe I'll just play once through the head and just play around with a few things so you can kind of see it in action. All right. chord again. Sus, C147. Dominant. Walk it down. There's that sus again. Here you can walk through the key. You could even do it. Let's see. What am I trying to do? That's gonna take a little practice. And then, no, it doesn't really work. Let's see. Maybe just right there. Hold on, man, I'm making a video. I have a... Oh, let me see. Where are you? I don't know.
Oh, you're going to the bathroom?
It's the witching hour. Even that, look, sus4, dominant with the flat 9, sharp 5. Yeah. So, anyway, that's the idea. I hope you got something cool out of that. Let me show you the pop exercise before I go, which is I like to do a spread voicings. Just give you a little different context for inner voice. Any of my students out there watching who've been through Piano 4 will recognize this. So if you take, just whatever major key you're in, just take your 1 and 5 in the left hand, and then 3 and 8 in the right hand. 5, 3, 8. You can do this all the way down here. It's so nice and spread out, or up here, or wherever. You can move those inner voices. Keep these guys here. And this is, very churchy, but it's also very funky and poppy, depending on how you do it. Churchy things or pop things, like to the 5 with the major 7. So there's all sorts of nice little cadences in there, and when you have that stuff on any major chord open for you, then you can make any kind of landing spot, into more than just playing a chord like this, So those are cool exercises to do. Just go through your different possibilities, your diatonic possibilities in your key, and then your chromatic possibilities. So there's all sorts of fun little things you can find in there. You're playing a chord progression. Let's see. So even, just realizing what harmony you can use. You can use the 4 and the minor 4 and the 1. So that's some fun stuff to mess around with as well. All right. I gotta go get those boys in bed. Peace.